Hey guys, welcome to the Good Karma Sport Fishing Podcast. I'm your host, Captain Ryan Van Fleet. Let's get into it right away today. I want to talk to you guys about fluorocarbon leaders, okay? And this stuff is getting like brought back up again about fluorocarbon versus mono, not test, all this other shit, okay? So, listen, here's the deal. And also, too, I'm hearing that companies are like, the people are saying that companies are lying to them, telling them that like fluorocarbon's invisible. Companies are not lying to you guys. You just have to read you guys have to read the labels, okay? Fluorocarbon is visible. It's always been visible. It's just that somewhere along the lines, like everything else in our culture, in our lives, things become like delusional. And fluorocarbon leaders is one of them. Okay. I want to start with Yozuri. And the reason why I want to start with Yozuri is because of their labeling. Yozuri puts on their virtually invisible. Okay. It's similar to how like food companies like may contain peanuts, may contain like shellfish. Okay. I want you to think about that. So I know a lot about labeling because when I got out of school, I had to do all this FDA compliance work for allergens. It was just like right when allergens became a thing, that's what I was hired to do. And I did a lot of work with the FDA, with companies, and it was just it was a nightmare. So listen, labeling is like you have to read the label and you have to like learn how to read between the lines because they're not going to tell you, like they want you to make you think that it's invisible. Okay. But Yozuri says virtually invisible. Okay. They're not telling you that stuff isn't invisible. So just think about that. So the companies are not lying to you. They're saying that it's not, but they're not going to like come out and say that it's like that it's not invisible because it just takes away the marketing. Okay. That's how shit works. Okay. That's how shit works in the fishing industry. They're going to have that. Okay. It's just how it works. And for you guys that are new to this stuff, listen, take a step back, quit, like, let your brain open up. And you guys are watching all these videos about knot tying strengths, like all this stuff. Okay. Take a step back, take a moment, and think about it. Okay. Pink versus clear fluorocarbon. Pink is highly visible, yes, to the human eye. Clear, not so much. Okay. You put them two and two together. I've seen videos down 175 feet, and you can see the pink, and you can rarely see the clear. Just depends on what the viz is and how much. That's another thing is like what's the viz doing? What's the sunlight doing? What type of particle you have in the water? Do you have green water? Do you have blue water? And this year we have a lot of clean water down here, more so than I've seen in the past 4 to 5 years. So what does that mean? Maybe it's time, if you're like fishing higher in the water column, maybe you should switch over to clear fluorocarbon if you're not getting bites. Fishing live bait, not getting bites. Got pink, got clear, change over. That's the only way to find out. I wouldn't listen to anybody. I wouldn't listen. You have to learn on your own. And I think a lot of people are so afraid to make mistakes. And that's the best fishermen I know have made the mistake and then doing something, and then they've adjusted it and then made it better. That's including myself. The only way I've gotten it better is I've made mistakes. Okay. And one of them's been with mono line, for example. So I've since corrected that. Also, too, mono versus fluorocarbon. Listen, I'm going to give you guys the best advice I can. You need to match. Like for myself, I would use gray, like a grayish blue mono. I think that that's what the tuna guys use. They use that Gen K stuff. It's pretty good. Like it matches. That's what that's what I was like educated on, was that grayish stuff. I don't even know if I pronounced it right, but I guess that stuff's really good. But I don't use it. I just use a more bluish Like if I'm really concerned about it, then I just go with the more grayish blue type mono. But I don't honestly, I don't get too concerned with it. I really, you really want to match the background. Um, Line has changed over the course of the years as far as, different types of line, and there's just so much shit out there. I just think it confuses people now. So why do I fish fluorocarbon 100%? It just acts better for me. I hate monofilament. I really do when I'm fishing for mutton snappers. I do feel that I get more bites on clear fluorocarbon than I do pink fluorocarbon when I'm grouper fishing sometimes. I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but as far as everybody's using pink Andy because they say it disappears down at the bottom. It does not disappear, guys. It's highly visible. Um, how fish see, who knows? They say that I really do feel that fish are adapting for the ocean. I really do. I think that they're seeing more pinks now than ever before. I want to show you guys something. And for you guys that have not read some of my blogs, I really would like you guys to, I put this stuff together for you guys to get educated. So I'm going to pull up a shared screen here for you, and I want to show you something really quick here. So this one I just created here with my blog here. This is what you do is you go to goodkarmasportfishing.com, and I've got my blog. You just go there. So you can go down. This is a really good one. I want to like fish see this damn thing down there. It's like a tuna, for example. It's like metal rod. This is a great Ebby. This is one I use with Ryan Morey, man. It is like I I knew this thing was going to work really well, and I used it with Ryan, and he caught a nice tuna. You see it on the video that he has here. But I want to show you guys something. This is Conch Republic divers here, okay? And I get a lot of information from them. What's visible, okay? Obviously, take a look. That's 100 and that's deep. Okay. That's all the way on the bottom. And you see the chartreuse, you can see the pink, you see the white, bluish background. I've got some other ones of now orange, like orange, bright orange down there. Um, there's one. This is in green water off the Eagle Wreck. So there's a lot there. Uh, I talk about UV blast and stuff. I don't know. I really do feel that these fish are adapting. So I get a lot of my information from divers, okay? And you can see the pink stuff. Now, why do I use fluorocarbon? Mostly because of abrasion and how it handles for me. I do not like monofilament line, but I'm using long leaders. And then I have another tactic that I use for when I'm mutton snapper fishing that if you guys want to know how I approach mutton snapper fishing, then you have to get signed up for my courses and how I approach them. So, or you can book a session with me to ask. So, but there is a reason why I use fluorocarbon, and it's not for 100% visibility. It's not because it's invisible. Okay. I do not believe this, like, anything is invisible down there. The fish can see everything. Their eyesight's amazing. So the real key is like fishing higher up in a column, and you want to like look at that with the backdrop and then cloud. There's just so many variables with that. So listen, if you guys are on the fence about it, really just go what you feel like, and then see what works and what doesn't. I can tell you what, I would rather be fishing against a guy that doesn't have fluorocarbon than a guy that does. I'm just going to leave it at that. Okay. So when you're making a decision, please, like, look at everything, look at the big picture. No, the companies are not trying to like lie to you, because they do put it on their labeling. They do tell you this stuff is not invisible. It does show up. Companies are going to, like, it's marketing 101, invisibility. Do your own checks. I'm just telling you like I see it. I've been using pink Yozuri line for several years. And before that, I used diamond line. And I have to say that the diamond line was better. And they've switched it up to diamond illusion. And what I learned was a lot of that stuff is like they were like making more money in the electric car business. So I don't really know how much truth there is to that, but anyhow, also too, I do know with fluorocarbon that there's a lot of rumors going around that that the swivels were breaking, and like it was breaking off your leader. No, how it works is when you have a lot of stress on fluorocarbon leader when you're running planers over 2 to 3 times, is that your fluorocarbon leader does weaken because of the amount of pressure that your planer puts on it. Okay. And when you catch a couple wahoos, I would definitely be cutting back or putting on a new leader. Okay. Because it will break at the swivel. So all I know is that when I catch like 2 muttons that are like 30 inches, is that I'm cutting it back. Okay. Because it weakens at that point. It doesn't weaken the whole leader. And listen, until like there's like I'm using a really long leader, and all I'm seeing are breaking strengths on short leaders, and I don't know. I just go off of what I know and what my experience is, and I've learned from some mistakes. So I was like, oh shit, I should be cutting some of this back. And yeah, so I started to, and then I know that I can go like a couple trips on fluorocarbon, depending on what the catch rate is. And if I have one day where I just tear it up and we got to catch a lot of big fish, all that shit gets stripped, and a new batch of fluorocarbon goes on there the next day. My best advice to you guys that are really like into the mono fishing is that what it really comes down to is presentation on the bottom, and whether your line is spinning, and how the bait's setting. So there are several ball bearing swivels on the market today. So my recommendation to you guys is to use a 2-turn, like a 2-point connection. That's a swivel that turns in both directions. And this is an AFW one. And what that does is you've got 2 points of rotation. Okay. And 2 points of connection. I'm going to do a blog on this here soon, but these are AFWs. Those are my favorites. And then you got like a 1 point. That's a cheaper one, like a 1 point to one. You've got a closed where the ball bearing, like it's closed on one side, it doesn't turn. So you've got a 1 point. You've got one connection point here that rotates versus the other that's closed. So your chances of spinning up are still not great. Like, I mean, still are there, but it's going to happen more frequently, in other words. So especially after you drop a few times. So I prefer to have the 2 point, 2 connection, like swivels. The AFW ones are my favorite. So if you are using mono, then I highly suggest that you go with the 2 point connection ball bearing swivels. That will help prevent that twist. And if you're not getting bites, then something's up. Okay, something's up, and you have to make adjustments. So with mutton snappers and you're using mono, I would suggest you go down to 30 pound if you're not getting bites. Fluorocarbon, 40 pound. So, and if they're really biting, you can get away with 50, 60, just depending. The visibility is crazy. So I'm having to make adjustments on my leaders, more so than I have in the past, because I'm just seeing some great water, which is really good. I mean, it's healthy. So when that's how it goes. So with dolphin fishing, you don't need fluorocarbon. But my leaders, like I make my own leaders, but so I do use fluorocarbon because I feel that my hook sets are a little bit better because I don't want any stretch at that hook set point. I want my leaders to last. I don't want them spinning up. I don't like, so they get put through a lot of abuse on the surface. So I get more out of a fluorocarbon leader than I can a mono leader. Um, that's just how I like to do it. I'm skipping baits. Tuna fishing, that's a whole different ball game. Uh, I would honestly, I would like if you're like not a fluorocarbon fan, then you need to go down to like 20 to 25 pound fluorocarbon or 20 to 25 pound um, mono, whether that be a gray mono, a grayish blue mono, something that matches that above surface. Like you want to blend into that top water. You want to blend into the surface water there. You want to blend into the bubbles. You got all that stuff. But if you're like really going to get stealthy with it, then the fluorocarbons, like 25 pound fluorocarbon down to 30 pound for blackfins on the hump right now if they're being picky. When I jig, it's 100% fluorocarbon. 30 pound fluoro is my go-to when I'm jigging for blackfins on the hump. So anyhow, that's all I want to talk about that. I Listen, the companies are not trying to lie to you guys. This is something that we like as a fisherman, I was educated by my dad. And I know a lot of people are just getting into fishing and they don't have parents that fish, so they rely um, on mentors and they rely on people to teach them, which is amazing. I think it's awesome. I think that's awesome that there's YouTube out there that you have so much content that you can choose from. But I just want to what it comes down to is I don't want you to lose your individuality of who you are as a person. And so meaning that I want you to make your own decisions. And sometimes the only way you're going to get better is to make the actual mistake. Okay. So God knows, man, I've made a lot of mistakes, a lot of them. And I'm not done making mistakes. So I just try to, as far as now, when it comes to something, I'm not so easy to jump in on it where I was in my younger days. So I'll be talking more about that here over the next couple of weeks with a new product that I'm trying out. So I'm not going to be so quick to jump in and say how great things are. Like in the past, I'm like, maybe I shouldn't have said that. Um, but I'm going to be a little bit more cautious about that. Yeah, I'll still answer questions about how's things going. I was like, and I'll be honest. And sometimes honesty, the way that I come across can sound a little bit sarcastic or a little bit, but it's just who I am as an individual, and I've worked on that over the years, and just like I've worked on fishing. So anyhow, um, I hope that kind of answers your question. What it really comes like the questions that I've been getting, because the reason why I brought this up, because I get a ton of questions about mutton snappers and fluorocarbon leader and groupers and stuff. And really, guys, it just comes down to what your personal preference is and fishing pressure. There are some areas where they don't care. Then you got other areas that just get hammered. Use your brains. What are you going to do? Go in there with 50 to 60 to 100 pound fluorocarbon leaders onto a high pressured spot on a Saturday when you got 10 other boats that were there the day before. Just, you know, get the brain clicking. You don't need to Google that. If you need to Google a review on what would this guy do, then you're not going to get any better. So let me help you guys. Get signed up for my courses. And I want to walk you guys through I walk you guys through some rationality when it comes to mutton snapper fishing. It's going to open your eyes a little bit about why I do what I do. So including deep drop as well, which is what we're doing right now. Chicken rigs versus rigs along the bottom, all that other stuff. So I just finished up a course showing guys, where to like go fishing. So up in Miami, I gave them some areas that I would look at going, and in my new blog, the Navionics versus Seymour, I also go through there about how I use SatFish and like with these two. So I do use SatFish with these two to come up with areas to fish based on what I'm seeing as far as the temperature breaks or where I'm going to start, and gives me just a good area to start, you know. So anyhow, let's talk about some fishing reports. Okay, so again, I want to leave you with this on fluorocarbon. I'm going to say it one more time: is the companies are not trying to lie to you. It's marketing 101. Whether you use fluorocarbon, if you don't, all I can say is I want you guys to go back. I want you guys to look at my catches, and I use fluorocarbon. So, and I've used mono, and there's a reason why. There's a reason why I use fluorocarbon. Okay, especially when it comes to mutton snapper fishing. Like anybody can catch them when they're like, you see a lot of guys, they're only here on good moons. They're only here. I have to catch fish all the time. And I approach things like I want to give the best I can with the best equipment. And that includes I know it works for my reels as well too. Some fluorocarbon may not work for your reels and how much you put on, you know, so I know what works for myself and my, you know, in the areas that I fish. And then if something's not working, I make adjustments. Okay. Whether that be to go to pink fluorocarbon or to clear fluorocarbon or to go to mono or like, so there's a lot more that goes on behind the scenes and the guys talk about, and at least the guys that are working hard at it and getting the job done, than what they're telling you. So yeah, there you go. Okay, so let's dig into some fishing reports here. We're going to pull up a shared screen here, and I'm going to give you a little bit of interactive fishing reports here, which would be fun. Pull up the old Navionics for you. All right, here we go. So I've got the old Navionics up. We're gonna walk through some fishing reports here for you on where to try here. So everybody who's looking to go do some dolphin fishing, of course. So we'll give you a little bit of insight on all that good stuff here. So let's see what we got. As far as dolphin fishing right now, let's look at it. All right, so we're coming out of. It's funny as I pulled up some history, and this time last year. Oh no, I'm sorry, not last year, but in like 2015, we had a really good migration of some beautiful slammers that started pouring through. So what happened is we just came off of this hurricane, and I'm seeing some wahoos being caught more towards like the you know, more down to the south in the Gulf, and they're showing up in areas that yeah, they don't tend to show up in until like later. So what happens is you get those. So we had that big hurricane in Texas, and that's a wahoo mecca. I don't know if you guys know, man, but it's going to be. I guarantee you that Port Arkansas, I think that's where it's out of down south there in Texas, is going to be the wahoo spot here in a couple years, because I have to tell you the amount of wahoos that I'm seeing caught out of there is incredible. And the guys are just now starting to find out about it, and you're going to start seeing that area as the next destination. Guarantee it. You have Louisiana, but you're going to start seeing that Texas zone become the spot. Okay. Don't believe me? I've been right about 90% of the stuff I've shared over the course of the years. So if you guys are like, you guys need to follow it, because it's going to start happening. So we had that hurricane that happened down there, and that's going to push a lot of fish. So which means that may move up our wahoo fishing just a little bit this year. We'll see what happens. So I haven't seen a hurricane. We've seen tropical. We used to see a lot of tropical storms in July down there. So, and that was back in a long time ago, and we started seeing them in July. And so I look back on my books in 2015, 2017, 2000, that zone when we had a lot of tropical stuff happening down there, we started seeing a lot of nice dolphin come pushing through. So really, I look at the map here and I'm like, yep. So we're looking at, I would start your, if you're coming out of if you're coming out of Tavernier, you got two choices, or you're coming out of North Key Largo. Really, what's going to happen is you're going to start looking there and like you're in the zones and like, I would start looking in 600. I remember I look back at my books for these dates and the fish were on frigate birds. Then what I've seen was last year around this time, they were in close, like 250, 300. So you'll get these migrations of fish that'll push like this time of year and they'll be in close. So don't discount these shallow zones right now, especially after with the way the water looks, it looks really good. So just know that they'll be on birds this time of year. They'll be on frigates. That 250 zone, 300, that's where you're going to start seeing them. Okay. So, and that's what happened last year. But now you've got this, whether this hurricane did anything for the dolphin migration push, I guess we'll have to see. A lot of schoolies. It's been really good year, and I look up the coast to North Carolina, and you're seeing the same stuff. You're seeing the same sizes. You're not seeing anything with anything different. So don't like, so just letting you guys know. I watch the North Carolina reports and I see that. So they're seeing the same size of fish up there. So this weekend you're heading out, starting that you're coming off of see if I get you a starting point here. Pardon me, I'm gonna slow down a little bit. I tend to get a little ahead of myself. Okay. So I've been having a lot of luck this year in that 830 zone. Okay. So you come out, you're off of molasses right here. So you start like you see that little broken bottom area right there. So if you have the navionics, you're going to say, okay, let's take a look at here and then fish through there. Because what happens is if you guys pull up your SatFish stuff, I go over this in my new blog, is you want to look for these zones out there because if the current's doing what it needs to do and the southeast is doing it and all that other good stuff that's happening together, you'll get these stretches of weed lines that'll set up out there, and then you'll get the temperature breaks and upswellings in that zone. But you see the broken bottom areas, all these little humps. So, but this is where I've been catching them at this year, this zone. That's where I catch them at every year, actually. It's like it's no secret. You'll come out, you'll see these little broken up zones here. So these are great little spots out there. And yeah, there's like dolphin spots. You got to look for the places to where there's going to be like, you're going to see the weed lines come together and you want to look for the bottom and all that. There's just so much that goes into it. You can, like I said, you can sign up for my courses or you can just learn how I do it through the blogs if you guys really want to learn how to use SatFish. But I'm just kind of showing you guys a little bit here about where to look. So your zone, I would say you get started out here. You want to get started in this that 600 zone. You can see where that 600 is always a good place to stop. Put out the trollers. So you want to start in this zone out here. 780 out to 900. And if you really want to go, then you're not finding them. You just go deeper. That's or you just wait until the afternoon when the fish pop up like in this like 600 and the 400 and 720, those those zones there. But if you're going south, you want to fish the rips. Um, these are the areas that you want to be like that the east hump. no brainer. Then you want to fish the rips if you're heading south, and you just keep going. And then obviously you're just get outside these humps here. So 7, start focusing on those zones. But like I said, this time of year, don't discount the shallow stuff. Don't discount the shallow stuff because you've just had a hurricane come through down there, and you're going to start seeing some stuff happening here. It's probably happening, like my guess is that it'll happen here maybe this coming week, closer we get to the new moon when the current does its thing. Fulls and news, obviously. So I think with the moon illumination coming up, right now, as far as the moon goes, you just got to pull it up and see where you're at. Obviously your news and your fulls, I would be, planning your trips. So I've got a course out there about when you should go around the moons, and it's called the Solar Lunar. So I want to show you guys that one. And as far as where you can find all my stuff, and I've got some stuff out there that you can just go to my website here, go to courses. This one here is what I would recommend. If you're new and you really want to get dialed in, this is where you should start. Okay. If you're very new, this is where you should start, is with this one. I go through what to look for. I also teach you about when to plan your trips. And honestly, there's a lot of guys that just still are like living and dying by this. And there's a lot more to it now, but it's just a good place for you to start. It'll put you actually past like probably about a good 80% of the new charter boat captains and freelance guides out there, just by getting this, by telling you this, by purchasing that, you're going to be well ahead of it of a lot of guys out there. So, because a lot of people want to skip the basics, and there's a lot of people out there that don't understand is that that animals and everything and fish all revolve around the moon, and that all that works together. So that's all I got for today, guys. I really encourage you guys to get signed up for my Good Karma Sport Fishing rigging crew. And this week we're going to cover how I rig cigar minnows. I've been rigging cigar minnows for trolling this year. They've been working better than ballyhoo. And there's an easy way to do it, and I'll show you that you cannot find on you cannot find this on YouTube. And the last couple videos I showed the guys some live stuff on how I rig squid that actually works to where it doesn't fall apart. So it gives it is a little, there's definitely a trick to it, and you're never gonna, it's not on the internet. So so what I do in those groups is I really want you guys to learn stuff to try to stay ahead, and it's stuff that I'm willing to share because I really want the guys in the groups to get better and just have a good time. And just I want to share my knowledge with you guys in there. And it's really like, I shouldn't say I don't want you to get better, is that I really want to give you guys some new tools that can might help you out on the water, make life a little easier for you when it comes to rigging, and not everything has to be so difficult. So yeah. I have to go. My dog Miracle's getting ready to have a breakdown on me. We lost little Stella a few weeks ago. It's been very heartbreaking for us. I haven't talked about it. So it's just been really rough. And Miracle is our last pup, and she's having a rough go of it because she's used to having 2 sisters around her. Those people that don't think dogs feel, or they don't have feelings, you're absolutely in, it's been let's just say it's been very difficult for her. So she's actually screaming for me right now. She was taking her nap, and that's why I wanted to get the podcast done. So I've been trying to spend as much time with her as I can. Um, so, but anyways, Stella's always going to be in our heart and our prayers. And guys, life goes by really fast out there, and um, well, the one thing that Stella, and I had a bond with her, and the thing that she taught me was that, hey, it's okay to be who I am. So I had looked at doing stuff a little differently with this podcast and like making a fancy background and like doing stuff like, and I took a step back and I go, that's just not me. And if you actually seen what my background looked like with fishing rods everywhere, um, it's like, my gosh, it's crazy. I'm not trying to hide anything. I just got a ton of shit, ton of fishing rods that I use, and I got nowhere to one thing about the Keys is that you don't want to like put anything outside. You don't want to leave anything at your boat down here. Don't anybody let you tell you different. And that's like this anywhere else in the world, is that it will disappear. So eventually. So um so that's all I got. I'm just gonna like with the YouTube stuff, and always say that's what I got, but then I add a little bit more. So with the YouTube stuff, um, I'm gonna be doing some more YouTube um, coming up here over the next month. Here we're getting into Wahoo season, and I want to leave you guys with this: is that the new accelerated Wahoo course is going to launch very soon, and in the last course that I did, it was a mixture. This one is going to be 100% focused on next level Wahoo fishing, slow trolling, not high speed trolling. And we're going to focus on downriggers. We're going to focus on planers. We're going to focus on some other stuff. So there's going to be on the water this time around, and with some different things, and you're going to see a lot more. So that's going to be coming up here. I will announce it. I'm super excited for it, and I'm going to be sharing some stuff that I haven't shared because life's too short. That's all I got. Make sure you follow me on Instagram. I haven't been posting on there late. I've been doing some posts, but we've been extremely busy working on stuff for the new courses, and I've been like into it knee deep, getting the new Minn Kota Quest trolling motor brushless onto the boat for the season, for the fall season. I shouldn't say the fall, but for the late summer and fall season. Uh, More to share on that here, but that's it. Thank you guys for tuning in. It's Good Karma Sport Fishing _ FL Keys on Instagram, and my email is goodkarmaryan@gmail.com. If you want to book a trip, come fishing. You'll learn a few things. Catch some fish too. All good. Thank you guys. And remember, anytime you're fishing, it's all good.